So, starting chapter 1, we're back in Konoha. It's been 3 years and we see a grown Sarada standing outside the Hokage's office. We then see Sarada speaking to who's been revealed to be the 8th Hokage, Shikamaru. Sarada, frustrated, seems to be arguing with Shikamaru about Boruto's innocence. However, Shikamaru isn't hearing none of this and says someone who killed the 7th Hokage cannot be spared. Sarada though isn't giving up and she continues to beg Shikamaru to just lift the execution order on Boruto and give him a chance to talk. Shikamaru though still isn't listening, and as the tension rises, Sarada calls Shikamaru an idiot as she gets really angry. To which, now fed up, he tells Sarada to stop it, and if she continues defying, she can forget being a Hokage, she won't even get past Genin. Turning away with attitude, Sarada snaps, telling Shikamaru, didn't my dad Sasuke become a traitor and it was Lord 7th who defied orders to try to save him? I'm following Lord 7th, not you. Switching scenes, we arrive with Kaoki in his Daikoku-ten dimension and we see Naruto and Hinata sleeping soundly. And we see Kaoki looking on with an intense expression. Switching back with Sarada, we see her walking through the village with Sumire as they talk about how over the last 3 years, due to Ada's omnipotence, everyone's memories except theirs have changed, and to the villagers, they are the ones who are weird and Boruto is simply an enemy. Sarada, frustrated, asks how on earth they're supposed to counter such a ridiculous ability, and we then skip forward to them speaking to Ada herself, asking for more details. Ada asks why they haven't given up and that it's useless. Ada continues by stating she has no control over the memory omnipotence ability, and only now, 3 years later, is she coming to grips with understanding it. Ada continues by saying to everyone their memories are not changed but have been like that since the beginning, as that's the effect of this ability. She says there's no point speaking to those affected by it as they simply won't understand. Now switching subjects though, Ada tells both of them that she finds it very strange they are not affected and asks if they are also not affected by her charm ability. Suddenly, Sarada and Sumire are now starting to sweat and they try to brush it off, recalling the time Shikamaru told them to ensure Ada never finds out they are immune to her ability, as they don't want Damon to do something troublesome. As we see Damon sitting on Ada's lap looking devilish. Switching scenes, as the wind rustles, we see Kaoki hanging over a ledge. He tells Mitsuki to calm his blood first and he can sense it from here and that it's entirely suffocating. Mitsuki tries to explain to him though, he's only trying to protect him from Boruto, who is dangerous. But Kaoki dismisses this, saying Boruto cannot sneak attack him as he may fool the sensory team, but he will always sense him. Mitsuki then swears that he'll protect Kaoki and kill Boruto, to which Kaoki rudely tells him he doesn't care what he does and to stop following him around like a weirdo. Suddenly though, before they can continue talking, the sensory team calls in, telling Kaoki they have found some claw marks outside the walls east of Sector C. Immediately, Kaoki rises airborne and tells him to sit tight as he's on his way. As he flies off, we see Mitsuki looking confused, left wondering if Kaoki is really the sun that shines bright against his moon. Skipping to Himawari, for the first time, we see she's training with Chojo. She throws a kick at Chojo, but Chojo quickly parries it with her arm. Himawari then tries attacking again, quickly darting upward, throwing multiple kunai, trying to overwhelm her. Acting quickly, Hima uses human bulge expansion to blow herself backwards and avoid the kunai before rolling forward, grabbing Himawari. Now that training is finished, we see them sitting over a campfire, including Shikadai and Enojin. Enojin asks Himawari why she wants to get so strong, to which she responds saying she wants to help Boruto, shocking everyone, who look at her confused. They ask if she's joking, but looking serious, Himawari says what she remembers of Boruto is not the same as everyone else. She continues, saying Boruto has risked his life for her and Naruto, and she has a strange feeling that her dad Naruto is still alive. Back with Kaoki, we see him activating his dojutsu and shrinking the claw marks, to which a shinobi thanks Kaoki for getting rid of them all. Confused though, Kaoki wonders what Code is up to and why he has not attacked the village in 3 years, especially when he has so many ten-tails. However, suddenly getting serious, Kaoki calls out to one of the shinobi, telling him to remain still, as we see Kaoki grabbing something from his neck, or claw mark, which he drags out. Kaoki then asks the shinobi if he noticed anything, to which he said no. Realizing the emergency, Kaoki calls into Shikamaru, telling him what has happened and to tell all the search team members to gather in one place so he can clear them all swiftly. Switching scenes, somewhere in the village, we see a shinobi walking and he feels something on his neck as suddenly a ten-toes appears out, slashing the shinobi and starting to cause havoc. We have a quick panel showing the sensory team as they see an undetected chakra appearing in the village and wonder what it is. As many shinobis call in asking for backup, we switch to the Hokage's office with Lord 8th and Konohamaru. Konohamaru tells Shikamaru that the ten-toes are appearing in many places simultaneously and attacking villagers. Understanding the situation, Shikamaru orders him to start the evacuation of non-combatants and for those who can fight to rush and assist. Internally, Shikamaru asks why Code has decided now of all times to attack. Back with Kawaki, he fatally punches one of the Ten-Tails, saving a villager, and tells her to follow the shinobi and run away. We then skip to Sarada, fly kicking the Ten-Tails in the chest, sending it flying back. Suddenly though, another hologram appears from the one she just killed, teleporting out of his face, and another one from that one, as Sarada is suddenly surrounded. Now popping out from another claw mark, Cold appears telling Sarada how nice it is to meet her. Sarada then asks what he wants, to which Cold says he's looking for Boruto. Visibly sweating, Sarada tells Cold Boruto left 3 years ago and to go look somewhere else. Cold though says he doesn't care to look for him anymore, as we can see the claw marks closing in on Sarada. Instead, I'll get his friends to summon him and tell Sarada to scream real loud so Boruto can come and save her. Suddenly though, in a flash, we see a bottom of a boot landing on Cold's face as Boruto arrives on the scene with his katana by his hip. This is the most insane entrance ever, bruh. Boruto, now looking down on Cold, tells him it's this kind of sick thinking why the girls don't rock with you. Pissed, Cold swings both claw marks above, but Boruto effortlessly evades, jumping out of the way. Back with the sensory team, they confirm to Shikamaru that the chakra matches is Boruto and that he's suddenly infiltrated from the sky above Cold. As everything seems to be getting worse, Shikamaru orders everyone to focus on Code, but beware of Boruto's movements. Back in the action, we see Boruto standing menacingly, preparing to engage, and Sarada behind him, overwhelmed by Boruto's presence. We then see a three-way panel as Kawaki tells Boruto, "You've finally shown yourself." Code begins by telling Boruto that he didn't expect him to show face so easily and that he's been looking for him, and now he wonders why he didn't invade Konoha sooner. Staring fiercely though, Boruto tells Code to withdraw his monsters now while he's in control and he'll consider sparing his life. Code though is completely bewildered by Boruto's confidence, telling him, "Were you not helpless against me just 2 years ago? How on earth can you spare me?" Boruto though, seemingly emotionless, repeats to Code that he clearly heard him and if he doesn't hurry, he will lose more than his left eye, implying that he may have been responsible for that during the time skip. Continuing, Sarada calls out to Boruto, trying to get his attention, but he immediately dismisses it, telling Sarada to help the villagers and he'll handle Code. Sarada, looking concerned though, asks Boruto if he's sure, to which Boruto says we'll talk later and to just stay alive. We then arrive with Team 10 fighting the Ten-Tails. Shikadai, using his shadow paralysis, restricts their movement, while Chojo charges in with her fist, sending the clawgram flying back. Chojo comments on how many there are, when suddenly a clawgram appears from another one behind Chojo, attempting to strike. However, before it can attack, Inoji uses his bird to lift it as we see him in the air with Himawari. Continuing though, the clawgram breaks loose from the bird, cutting it, sending Himawari flying to the ground. However, before she can land, we see someone sweeping through the air, Kawaki. He tells everyone to get out of the way pissed. He fly kicks the clawgram, sending it flying back from the force of the attack. However, strangely, as it regains its footing, it seems this clawgram is a little special, as we see a Renegan appearing from its eye. Hima then thanks Kawaki, calling him Big Bro, and Kawaki tells her to stop calling him that. But while he's saying this, he's clearly not aware of his surroundings, and the clawgram teleports behind him, thrusting his head into the floor. As we see it mutter the words Otsuski. Now panicking, Shikadai uses his shadow paralysis on the Ten-Tails and yells to Kawaki, saying he can't restrict it for long and to leave quickly. But now, activating his karma and getting pissed, Kawaki extends his arm, blowing it to shreds in a cloud of smoke. But still, it's not over, as we see that they're surrounded by more and more Ten-Tails. Shikadai now wonders if there's even an end to them, but still furious, Kawaki says it doesn't matter how many there are and they will slaughter every one of them. Back to the main battle, we see Code and Boruto having a standoff. Boruto is surrounded by clawgrams in every direction and they begin converging on his position. Behind him, a clawmark charges, trying to attack, but in an instant, Boruto draws his katana, fatally decapitating it from the shoulder up, sheathing his katana back into place. The rest charge at Boruto, as Boruto, this time in a flash, lets off a flurry of strikes, leaving nothing but decapitated torsos in his wake. Code, seeing this, wonders if maybe Boruto was not bluffing and was telling the truth. At the same time, Boruto tells him if he continues persisting, he'll lose every one of his clawgrams. Code though, tells him you're getting too cocky, and that these Ten-Tails are nothing but tools to him. Boruto doesn't seem convinced and tells him you don't know the true horrors of the Ten-Tails. Back with Sarada, she's running through the village and activates her fireball jutsu to destroy one of the clawgrams, burning it on impact. As two more Ten-Tails appear, Sarada uses her Chidori, continuing the pace as she strikes a collateral, cutting through both in one strike. Shocked, a shinobi asks Sarada if she's really only a genin, to which Sarada asks why it matters. But suddenly, from a momentary lapse in judgment, a clawmark is able to appear behind Sarada as she's having this conversation and is about to strike him, but the shinobi screams out, jumping in front of Sarada and taking the blow from the clawgram. We see after being bitten, the shinobi turns into a tree, which shocks Sarada. Back with Code, he tells Boruto of course that he knows about the Ten-Tails and that they will eat everything until they run into an Otsuski. Boruto though interrupts him, saying this is no longer the case since you enhanced them with your DNA. Boruto, now getting serious, tells him he needs to get rid of them while he can, or else he'll end up in the worst possible future for both of them, implying that Boruto has some type of sense of the future events. Cold, seemingly dismissive, tells Boruto he doesn't care about that worst possible future and whether the 10 Toes eat an Otsutsuki and become a divine tree. Boruto tells Cold this is the last time he'll say this, guide me to the 10 Toes and I'll spare your life. But not heeding the warning, Cold asks Boruto if he's lost his mind, but Boruto tells him that truthfully, killing him is easy and instead of dying for nothing, why not do a good act for the world? As Cold refuses, Boruto steps forward for the first time, intending to go on the attack as he says I guess there's no cure for idiots. As we see some wind-like substance swirling around Boruto, he activates what is a new technique, Rasengan Uzuhiko. Now in his head, Cold is confused and wonders why Boruto is attacking him so openly and doesn't understand. Nevertheless, Cold dips into his claw mark, teleporting behind Boruto, trying to take advantage and capitalize, striking for his head. But weaving under, Boruto attempts to thrust his Rasengan with his right hand, but Cold catches it with his right hand. Now with one hand obstructed, Cold tries to strike him with the other, but Boruto quickly parries it with a katana, neutralizing the attack. Now taunting him, Cold tells Boruto it's a shame he can't land this new jutsu, but Boruto insists he's already halfway there and he's about to finish him. Confused, Cold suddenly sees some wind swirling around his arm as it climbs up his body. Now standing menacingly, Boruto tells Cold this is his last chance to spill the information, but being reckless, Cold charges at Boruto, trying to strike him, but he effortlessly evades. Now furious, Cold tells Boruto to stop moving and attempts another strike, but again he misses, tripping over. Now in his head and looking defeated, Cold states this is beyond merely dodging and that Boruto's movements are insane. But as he looks back up, he finds Boruto's appearing in front of him, thrusting his Rasengan deep into Cold's abdomen, activating Rasengan Uzuhiko. We see the swirling turn to a vortex as Boruto sends Cold soaring into the air as he lands, looking deflated. We switch to Ada, watching this from her Senrigan eyes, and calls Boruto's move basic. But Damon, sitting on her lap, is not so convinced. He confirms it must be Boruto who's making the ground tremble underneath him, and smirks as if to say Boruto is now a worthy opponent. Back with Boruto, he praises Cold for being able to stand up after such a blow, but as we switch to Cold's POV, his vision is heavily affected and everything is spinning. As he holds his chest in pain, Cold drops to the floor, calling out to Boruto, asking what he has done. Boruto though, walking over to him, tells him it's the power of the planet's rotation that you feel rushing through your body and it will never stop, like how the planet never stops spinning. Boruto tells him he will die before the ability stops, making it essentially permanent. Walking up to him, Boruto kneels to his level, telling Cold there's a way he can get out of this as Boruto can rescind the ability. He gives Cold an ultimatum, to either sit here quietly awaiting his death or give him the 10 Toes location. Cold seemingly is really considering, but before he can accept, Boruto senses movement from behind as Kawaki tries to strike him, but Boruto darts out of the way, evading the attack. Team 10 follow closely behind as Himawari calls out to Boruto, making his expression lighten even for just a moment. Shigadai, angry at the sight of him, asks Boruto what he wants in Konoha and what he was just discussing with Cold. But seemingly reluctant to respond, Boruto says he's trying to make a deal and not to interfere. While this is happening though, Cold tries to use a claw mark to teleport away, but is instantly shrunk by Kawaki's dojutsu. Now calling in, Shikamaru asks Kawaki for an update on the situation, to which Kawaki says he doesn't know, but Cold is drained and can be finished right here. Understanding this opportunity can't be missed, Shikamaru gives the order to him to finish him, but Boruto tells Kawaki to step away from Cold and not to provoke him. Pissed at his tone, Kawaki turns to Boruto, asking who he's talking to and that he must be ready to die showing up in Konoha. As he says that though, a hologram suddenly appears out, but Kawaki pierces his chest, killing it on the spot. But not realizing this was just bait, Cold uses the distraction to teleport away from the back of the hologram, getting away. Shikamaru tells them to stay focused and finish the rest of the holograms, but Kawaki tells everyone to go on ahead as he has some business with this one, as he turns facing Boruto. We then have a quick scene as Sarada looks at the tree that the shinobi is in, saying that he's not dead and still alive. Back with Kawaki, he asks Boruto if he's an adopted Uchiha with the black cloak that he's wearing. Boruto tells him he hasn't changed one bit with the trash talking and said it's good to see Himawari doing so well. Suddenly though, getting serious, Kawaki walks towards Boruto, asking if he's come to die, and if so, he'll grant him that here and now. Boruto though tells him that dying in Konoha doesn't sound bad, but today is not that day, as he proceeds to tell Kawaki to get out of his way. Kawaki though says to Boruto, aren't you the one in the way? But suddenly, a frog appears under Boruto's cloak, telling him the infiltration is complete and that code has returned. Boruto asks if the Ten-Tails is there, but the frog says he can't see it. We then switch the code in the Ten-Tail dimension as he curses Boruto for what he's done. Meanwhile, it seems earlier Boruto placed the frog on code and that frog confirms the Ten-Tails has been found. We then see Code recalling his conversation with Boruto, wondering how the Ten-Tails can possibly be a threat. The frog tells Boruto they need to move urgently and that there's no time to spare, and Kawaki seeing Boruto talking from afar, he starts wondering who Boruto is in conversation with. In a flash, getting serious, Boruto changes posture, activating Flying Raijin as he suddenly disappears and appears behind Code in the Ten-Tails dimension. Hey, it's kicking off now, man. Boruto, looking at the spot of the Ten-Tails, sees it's missing and the frog wonders how it disappeared so quickly. But in the distance, standing menacingly, Boruto feels a sudden presence as we see an evolved looking Ten-Tails with double renegades. Pissed, Boruto says he was too late, implying that he knew about these creatures beforehand. Code then calls out to the Ten-Tails as it looks familiar to Bug, someone that he knew. But Boruto quickly informs Code that this Ten-Tails monster is not the Bug that he once knew and is actually a divine tree. Code asks Boruto what does he mean by this, but before Boruto can answer, speed blitzing in front of him, the Ten-Tails strikes him with a devastating kick, sending Boruto flying back. For the first time in this series, Boruto is on the defensive. As he smashes the wall, the Ten-Tails ask Boruto if he's come to get devoured, but swiftly weaving a hand sign, Boruto activates a lightning technique, electric shocking the Shinju and sending it some steps back, but regaining it immediately. The Ten-Tails is only briefly affected, regaining his posture and striking back immediately with his dinosaur fist. Boruto, now seriously in trouble, quickly weaves Flying Raijin at the last minute, narrowly avoiding death as the Ten-Tails praises his jutsu, calling it tricky. Code, still badly wounded, asks Boruto what this thing is as he falls to the ground. Boruto, anticipating he'll need help, puts his hand to Code's chest, rescinding his Rasengan Uzuhiko and telling Code to help him if he doesn't want to die. Getting back up, Code asks Boruto what happened to the Ten-Tails and why Bug is becoming a divine tree. Boruto responds, saying it's not just Bug, but more accurately, anyone who is turned to a tree. Suddenly behind them, a menacing Ten-Tails hovering in the sky mutters the words chakra. It begins explaining to them their main instincts is to devour all living things and create divine trees from their chakra. But continuing, he tells Code that thanks to him, they have been able to evolve. A third female Shinju now appears from the right, taunting Code and saying he exists just to get used. Seeing Boruto is now outnumbered 3-1, the frog urges Boruto to leave now while they can. By the same moment, a fourth Shinju now appears, this one looking oddly familiar and immediately catches Boruto's eye as he stares at it fiercely. Hey boy, this one looking like Sasuke. Back in the Hokage's office, we see Kawaki and Shikamaru in conversation, and Kawaki explains to Lord 8th Boruto suddenly vanished without a trace, as if he was chasing Code, and Shikamaru wonders if Boruto has mastered space-time ninjutsu. Kawaki continues, stating Boruto is speaking to someone before leaving, implying that there may be a mole in the sensory unit that they need to find out. But Shikamaru rejects this, saying every conversation is monitored and this is not possible. Now joining behind them, Sarada calls Kawaki's theory stupid and to stop overcomplicating it. Code attacked and Boruto came to take care of him. Kawaki, now turning his head towards her, tells Sarada she doesn't understand Boruto's nature and that him being an Otsutsuki alone is enough for him to die. But Sarada, looking disgusted, says you're also an Otsutsuki and that's real funny coming from you. Clearly frustrated, Kawaki storms towards Sarada as they now stand face to face, and he tells her he exists to kill his own kind and that once he's done, he'll happily end himself. Damn, Uncle Ruckus? But standing on business, Sarada tells him she won't allow him to have his way as a shinobi who intends to become the Hokage. Shikamaru tells them to both stop arguing and asks what happened with the trees. To which Sarada tells him she doesn't know, but at the very least those affected are still alive. Continuing, Sarada says that overhearing Boruto, he knows something we don't, and regardless of his motives, it's clear him and Code are enemies. So we should work with him to take down a common enemy in Code. Switching back to Boruto, we see 4 menacing looking Shinju surrounding him. This is getting bad. Readying himself, Boruto grips his katana, and the frog, flabbergasted, asks Boruto what on earth he's doing and he needs to leave immediately. It's too late though. In an instant, the Sasuke Shinju teleports out of a claw mark, striking at Boruto from point blank range, causing him to duck low, narrowly missing the attack. Continuing, the Shinju charges a Chidori, and Boruto responds with the Rasengan as they both cancel out each other as the smoke fills the air. Continuing to suffocate him with pressure, the bug Shinju charges at Boruto from the right, but Boruto blocks it with his katana at the last possible moment. Still, he's squashed by the rocks from underneath, immobilizing him. The frog though is still calling out to Boruto, begging for his retreat. Boruto though, realizing his life is in serious danger, asks Code for a hand, but Code, smirking, says what an unpredicted circumstance this is and teleports away in the claw mark, leaving Boruto alone. The frog continues, telling Boruto he needs to leave now or he'll die for nothing. As Boruto looks up, locking eyes with what seems to be the leader Shinju, he quickly moves flying Raijin and teleports away, finally retreating. The leader Shinju calls Boruto lucky, saying they are currently curious for knowledge and so they are overcoming their instinctual desire to devour him. But he says it doesn't matter where you run, you can never escape your destiny. Switching scenes, Boruto is resting on a tree, looking down at his headband that he got from Master Sasuke, appearing beside him. Cashin Cody tells Boruto never to be that rash again and that he almost died right there, to which Boruto apologizes. Now looking up, Boruto says, "Sorry master, you need to wait a little longer," as we see our boy Sasuke Uchiha turned to a tree. We then enter a flashback from 2 years prior as we see Boruto with long hair. Boruto seems exhausted from training and Sasuke tells him that that's enough and that it's time for a break. As dawn breaks and they sit over a campfire, Boruto jokingly asks Sasuke if he's mastered the Uchiha style, to which Sasuke tells him he has taught Boruto almost every move in his arsenal. Boruto, suddenly shocked, tells Sasuke that you were joking, right? But Sasuke tells him he's very serious. Sasuke starts by telling Boruto he's a quick learner and got natural talent, what they call a genius. He tells Boruto he has nothing left to teach him and Boruto's eyes widen in disbelief. Sasuke though tells him not to misunderstand this with him being done training and that he must continue to hone and master these moves. He tells Boruto what you make of my moves are entirely up to you in the end. Sasuke tells Boruto he's a lot like Naruto. His eyes have the same determination and that's what saved him when he strayed from the path himself. Sasuke continues, saying it no longer matters to me who you are and that he finally understands why Sarada asked to help you. Something is happening that only you and Sarada can deal with. That is why I mentored you. We then skip later in the flashback. Code seems to be in a fight with Sasuke and she curses Sasuke, saying how dare you take my eye, as we see blood dripping from his nose. Sasuke tells Boruto to hurry and run, but Boruto is resisting, saying he won't abandon his master. Sasuke though breaks down the situation, saying there's no way they can currently win this and thus telling Boruto to escape and practice honing what he taught him. As if you do this, Sasuke tells him, you will surely be unstoppable. He then says his farewells to Boruto and tells him to look after Sarada before charging off with his Chidori activated. That's the goal right there. We then fast forward a little while later. Boruto seems to be returning to where Sasuke was fighting with Code, finding him in a tree. He then grabs Sasuke's katana, telling him, I've got this master. Skipping back to present day, we see Boruto looking over Konoha as the wind rustles. Konohamaru is being shown to the incident where he finds his best friend Moegi has been turned into a tree. He tells Team 10 not to worry and that they'll get her back. Back with the Moegi Shinju, she comments on Konohamaru and Team 10, saying she can feel their rage as we see her back at the base with all the Shinju. The leader, Jura, tells the Moegi Shinju she's being stimulated by her own awareness and that those feelings are unique to her. He continues, saying although we are all one being, we have individual experiences. Our goal is still to devour Boruto, but Jura says he has something he wants to declare. I want to devour Naruto Uzumaki. Hey my brother, slow down. Switching scenes, Ada is visibly shocked and disturbed, hearing through her Senrigan. Confused, the bug Shinju asks Jura, isn't Naruto not Otsutsuki? But Jura explains they seem to be evolving beyond their basic desires and he tells them all to give in to these desires and they'll hear their inner voice. By doing this, he explains, their own personal target will become clear to them. Matsuri, after a brief pause, says the first person that she might want to eat is Sarutobi Konohamaru. Pondering on his own, the Sasuke Shinju seems visibly confused and he asks Jura, what exactly are we? Now turning towards him, Jura states who they are doesn't matter and instead he should focus on their instincts and finding his target, as through that his identity will reveal itself. Ada, watching this at a distance, is suddenly alerted as the bug Shinju walks up to her, speaking to her, saying you're watching, aren't you Ada? I've decided my target is you. Completely flustered, Ada drops her drink back in the real world in the village, alerting Damon, who asks what's wrong big sis. Jura calls the Senrigan interesting and we see the Sasuke Shinju Hidari adding, saying that his target is Sarada Uchiha. To which Jura looks at him almost proudly, saying, good choice. Switching scenes, we pick up with Sumire and Amado in his lab. Amado, noticing Sumire looks agitated, asks her what's wrong. To which she replies saying Boruto has returned after 3 years but Konoha is trying to kill him after he protected us from Code. As he lights his smoke, Amado explains that Boruto killed their Hokage, thus it cannot be helped they want him dead. Amado then has some internal dialogue explaining he implanted his daughter's DNA in Kawaki and that all Kawaki needs to do is implant a karma on a new body that he'll prepare and that his daughter can be brought back to life. Not understanding why he's so nonchalant, Sumire asks Amado, isn't Boruto dying a problem for you since you want to revive your daughter Akabi? Amado then begins explaining that he implanted DNA into Boruto for his daughter. Is that what you're trying to say, Sumire? Amado, implying that he doesn't believe this of course. He continues, saying Kawaki has also been scientifically modified and yet no one in the village knows who did it. Clearly though, I am the one who made those modifications, he says, because they are special trademarks as a scientist that no one else could replicate. As a result, Amado says, the karma he made for his daughter is planted in Kawaki and not Boruto, even though his memory says otherwise. Therefore, I must conclude at least part of my memory has been altered, and since Kawaki has my daughter's DNA, Boruto is not my concern. We then switch to the sensory team, picking up all this information live. Asai asks Shikamaru what he thinks about what he just heard, to which Shikamaru stares into the distance as he thinks. We then skip back to Sumire, explaining to Sarada that Amado is aware of omnipotence. Sarada though is shocked, saying everyone trusts their memories even over physical evidence. She continues and mentions Sasuke, but before they can continue, Boruto appears behind them, saying my master Sasuke believed in me, risking his life. Emotional, Sarada runs over hugging Boruto very tightly, and Boruto looks down surprised as Sarada tells him, you're late, stupid Boruto. Boruto apologizes, saying I'm home now. Switching scenes, Shikamaru is present with the elders who ask him why Boruto, the traitor, is here when he knows we want him dead for killing Naruto. Shikamaru explains his motives are unknown, but at the very least, he saved us from cold and left straight after. Still irritated, the elder tells him it's irrelevant and that Boruto needs to die. This is about maintaining Konoha's honor. Shikamaru then walks off, finished with the conversation, but the elders call him back, telling him you've been temporary Hokage for 3 years, stop delaying and formally accept the role already. Letting us know that Shikamaru doesn't even want to be Hokage and for the last 3 years he's only been temporary. Back in the Hokage office, we see Shikamaru having a smoke. He tells Ino to enter as she drops him off some data. She asks him why do you need it, but Shikamaru, keeping small talk short, tells her that's all, thank you. Now leaving the Hokage office, Ino connects with Shikamaru using the mind transfer jutsu and asks if the data was just an excuse for them to speak privately. Shikamaru says he doesn't want anyone else to hear their conversation, but Ino says it depends on what he says. Ino tells him she's breaking regulation being off the record like this, but Shikamaru, looking serious, tells her Konoha's safety is on the line and to listen or we're done here. Finally listening, Ino asks him what he wants, and we then skip to Kawaki at a dinner table with Ada and Damon. Ada explains to Kawaki that the Ten Tails have evolved, to which, surprised, Kawaki asks isn't Code in control of them. Continuing, Ada explains Code ran off, but the Ten Tails are way out of his league now anyway. She explains that the fact that they want to kill him and Boruto is not even the most pressing matter. She explains they want to kill Naruto Uzumaki. Immediately getting pissed, Kawaki asks what they want to do with Naruto, to which Ada says she doesn't know yet. Kawaki tries to cool himself, saying it doesn't matter as Lord Seventh is in his hands. Damon, now entering the conversation, asks Kawaki, even though no one knows that Naruto is alive, if the Ten Tails come searching for him, won't that raise suspicion on your lie? Damon says not that he cares anyway, and Ada tells Damon not to speak to him like that. Kawaki, now pissed, slams up from the table and leaves in anger. As he leaves, he's accompanied straight away by Mitsuki and he tells them they are all so annoying. Back with Boruto, he sits down with Sarada and Sumire. Sarada, nervous and blushing. Sumire tells Boruto it's been 3 years and it's good to see him doing well, to which Boruto says the same. He tells Sarada she surprised him and that he's happy that they're both okay. Worried for his safety, Sumire asks Boruto if he's not endangering himself to the sensory unit right now by speaking with them, but Boruto explains he's erased his chakra signature so the sensory team won't even be able to notice him, but he says Kawaki will be able to, and so his time is limited. Now getting serious, Boruto explains he came here to tell Sarada about Master Sasuke. Sarada, immediately looking worried, asks if something's happened to Dad, to which Boruto explains he was absorbed by the Ten Tails. As the wind blows, Kawaki tells Mitsuki he can feel Boruto's presence and he's here in the village. Back with Boruto, Sarada asks if he means Sasuke turned into a tree, to which Boruto says yes. Master Sasuke sacrificed himself to save me and I hold responsibility. Sumire asks what's up with everyone turning to trees and Boruto starts explaining that due to being evolved, these Ten Tails are becoming divine trees without an Otsutsuki and instead are absorbing anyone. Switching to the sensory team, they connect Mitsuki with Shikamaru, and Shikamaru asks Mitsuki what the emergency is, to which he explains Boruto is in the village and he's going after him. He tells Shikamaru to tell Ada to alert his pinpoint location so that he can get to him quickly. Confused though, Shikamaru asks Mitsuki where's Kawaki, to which Mitsuki says Boruto can sense Kawaki and thus he isn't suitable, as we see a panel showing Mitsuki has put Kawaki to sleep with his snakes. Damn, Mitsuki activated. Back with Boruto, he continues explaining to Sarada and Sumire the state of the Tentails and how they've evolved due to Code's DNA. However, before he can continue, Boruto suddenly hears someone call his name. It's Shikamaru via the mind transfer jutsu. He tells Boruto their conversation is private, but try not to change your facial expression and alert the people around you. Shikamaru starts by saying they're on a private line by Ino and not to worry. Boruto though asks Shikamaru if he should be doing this as Lord 8th, but Shikamaru tells him you have more pressing matters to worry about and to get out of there now. But that's too late. Suddenly wrapping around his body, a whole snake appears as it starts suffocating him in strangulation. Before it can bite though, Boruto thrusts his hip forward, flying his katana airborne and immediately weaving flying Raijin, teleporting him instantly to his sword. We then see Mitsuki with a look of pure bloodthirst as he tells Boruto he's been waiting a long time for this moment. Sarada, seeing her 2 team members from Team 7 about to go at it, she tells Mitsuki to wait and listen to her, but dismissing this, Mitsuki says he doesn't know what lies Boruto has told her, but to move aside as he cannot control the power he's about to unleash. Mitsuki, now activated, uses his snakes to charge at Boruto from range, immediately closing the distance. Boruto then activates purple lightning, coating his katana from his blade as he decapitates all the snakes in one swoop. Before he can even get a second to breathe though, Mitsuki strikes again, this time digging his hands into the ground, discharging, striking Shadow Snake Assault, sending snakes at Boruto from underground. Seeing them just in time though, Boruto quickly flies upward and now is in the sky. He sheathes his katana back into place and briefly calls out to Sarada, telling her he swears to save Master Sasuke as well as everyone who's been tending the trees. Boruto is about to mention another person he saved, but he suddenly pauses, saying never mind as he flies off. Clearly disengaging, he doesn't want to harm Mitsuki. Still flying, Boruto continues talking with Shikamaru, asking why he didn't tell Mitsuki to stand down. Shikamaru explains to Boruto that the entire village wants him dead, and thus telling Mitsuki to not pursue you would be suspicious. He adds that as Hokage, he cannot support him publicly, however, behind the scenes, he can assist. Boruto though declines this, as suddenly Shikamaru tells him your Boruto Uzumaki, aren't you? As Ino looks visibly shocked listening to this. He apologizes he didn't know sooner, and that he hasn't considered the fact that his memories could be false until he heard Amado explaining it earlier. He asks Boruto to tell him the truth. Now landing from the sky, getting far enough away from Mitsuki, Boruto tells him he's flown far away now and that he can talk with him. Boruto then continues by asking Shikamaru how far the mind transfer jutsu can reach, but before their conversation can continue, Boruto tells him he will need to speak later as we see a snake appearing from his belt line. We then see, moving with disturbing speed, Mitsuki appearing in front of Boruto in Sage mode. Boruto notices his time is of the essence and he apologizes to Mitsuki as he tells him he intends to get serious now. Mitsuki, charging at Boruto with insane speed, the pressure's on Boruto to react as he throws some kunai to try to distract him, one of which landing at a tree in the distance. Mitsuki continues though, throwing a barrage of strikes with his snakes, charging forward, and Boruto continues to retreat. Realizing he needs to act swiftly, Boruto weaves his flying Raijin jutsu to teleport to his kunai that he threw earlier, suddenly appearing behind Mitsuki in an instant. He asks where Kawaki is and that he expected him to chase him, but not you. Mitsuki responds though, saying it's irrelevant as he's the one who's here now. At the same time, Shikamaru communicates with Boruto through the mind transfer jutsu, informing him that Kawaki was knocked out by Mitsuki's snake as Mitsuki did not want you to become alerted to his attack. Back with Mitsuki, he tells Boruto he truly is on a different level to make Cold retreat and that Kawaki is certainly no match for him and thus he cannot allow him to die. He means he doesn't want Kawaki to die, guys. And that now he intends to go all out without worrying. Boruto asks what does he mean, but Mitsuki ignores him, striking with a flurry of snakes from his arms, using multiple shadow clones to surround Boruto, which surprises him. As we see the devastation from Mitsuki's attack, Boruto mentions that more is not always the best, as he shouldn't destroy the environment like this. Mitsuki though responds by saying to Boruto he is the problem with this world and he needs to die for his sake. Boruto, not denying his blame, says he has many missions he needs to complete and fulfill before he can die, and thus he hasn't got time to play games. Suddenly, changing his posture, Boruto intends to go on the offensive for the first time in the fight. Speed blitzing past the snakes, Boruto grabs his lightning-infused katana, swinging it multiple times in quick succession, leaving behind a dust of smoke from the remains of the shadow clones. In his head now, Mitsuki is completely blown away from the speed and power that Boruto has shown, but tries to remain focused. Boruto though continues his attack by weaving a hand sign, but Mitsuki also uses snake lightning, and we then see a huge explosion as both attacks cancel each other out. As the smoke begins to clear, Boruto is already in front of him with his blade to his neck. Mitsuki, clearly at a loss, tells him to hurry up and finish the job. Boruto though tells Mitsuki you did not come to die, but instead it's just that your faith has been shaken as you cannot trust what you thought was your son. Mitsuki asks what he is talking about as Boruto continues by explaining don't you feel what was illuminating you isn't the same as what it was before, implying to Mitsuki that his son is not Kaoki. Switching back to Shikamaru, he asks Ino if it's possible to pick up Mitsuki's voice as well, but Ino quickly rejects this, saying such a reckless move would be way too risky and might alert the Sensory team. Mitsuki responds to Boruto, telling him you are nothing but a grudge-bearing traitor and to stop acting like you know me. Boruto though, staring with a blank expression, returns his katana back into place, telling Mitsuki he knows where his son is currently at this very moment. Confused, Mitsuki asks what he means by this, to which Boruto says put simply, I am your son. Eyes filled with anger, Mitsuki suffocates Boruto with his snake, cursing him for saying such a thing. Yet Boruto asks him why the snake isn't attacking him. Mitsuki wonders why Boruto is allowing himself to be caught and not escaping, which he easily could do. To which Boruto says, I bet you've realized for a while that Kaoki isn't your son. Mitsuki, now visually beginning to sweat from his cheek, looks down in disbelief, saying it cannot be. Boruto tells him it's normal to feel confused, but states the only one who can choose who your son is you, Mitsuki. Releasing his snakes in confusion, Mitsuki asks Boruto who he really is. Boruto though, dismissing this, tells him not to worry as he has no intention of killing Kaoki and that is merely a misunderstanding. Now turning away, Boruto says he still needs to hash some things out with Kaoki as brothers. Mitsuki, still confused, asks Boruto why he killed Lord 7th, to which Boruto says he is still alive, as we see a triple panel showing Ino and Mitsuki looking surprised. Boruto continues by saying his wife is also alive. Before Mitsuki can respond though, Boruto tells Mitsuki that he is perfectly capable of shining by himself, but if he really needs someone, to come and find him. As we switch to Ino in her flower shop, she seems completely flustered after what she's heard, and Shikamaru tells Boruto to find a place to talk. Back with Kaoki, he seems to have woken up after being put to sleep by Mitsuki and asks in anger where he is. We then skip to Shikamaru in the middle of conversation with Boruto, who seems to have found a quiet spot. Boruto explains to him the brainwashing that has happened to everyone due to Ada's omnipotence. Boruto tells Shikamaru to forget trying to understand how it works, as he'll soon forget anyway, and instead just believe that they swapped without proof. Boruto continues by praising Shikamaru, saying the fact that he found out himself is a crazy feat. Shikamaru asks how they can overturn it, but Boruto says they can't, as these false memories are real to everyone. Shikamaru, thinking of Boruto's shoes, says if he was him, he would want to finish Kaoki, but Boruto insists on instead giving him a beating and then settling it as siblings, but he understands Kaoki doesn't want the same. Understanding the situation, Shikamaru tells Boruto he needs him to stay a fugitive as he cannot expose Kaoki, to which Boruto responds saying that's fine as he wasn't expecting anything else. Switching to the Shinju leader Jora, we arrive at his hideout. He says the more he's reading, the more curious he is about this world as he realizes he knows so little. He explains the books don't have the answer he's looking for and he wants to pay Naruto Uzumaki a visit. Yo, this boy is tripping. Replaying the scene of Boruto vs Mitsuki, Ada's fanning out over Boruto's coolness, to which Kaoki tells her to snap out of it and to find Mitsuki before Boruto slips away. Delta is also with them, and she tells Kaoki to stop speaking so harshly. Ada suddenly finds his location, 20 kilometers south of the gate, and Kaoki immediately flies off, claiming Boruto is all his. As Kaoki and Delta fly towards Boruto's location, Shikamaru is connected to Kaoki, who tells him he is about to engage Boruto in combat, to which Shikamaru tells him to not be rash and wait for backup. However, before Kaoki can arrive, Boruto teleports away using his flying Raijin, causing Kaoki to suddenly stop as he realizes he no longer senses Boruto in the area. Back with Ada, Mitsuki appears behind her on the balcony and she tells him he completely surprised her with putting Kaoki to sleep. Mitsuki asks if Kaoki is angry, but Ada says she was purely focused on getting to Boruto and nothing else was on his mind. Mitsuki says he understands as Kaoki doesn't care about him, to which Damon asks if saying that doesn't make him sad. Mitsuki responds saying no, as he's known this for a while now. As he continues, Mitsuki explains he lost sight of himself looking for his son and he needs to be at one with himself to realize who his son even is. He then thanks Ada for having felt the emotional love through her charm, even if it's artificial. Ada responds by saying she really wants to talk with Boruto. My nigga actually got that Duke Dennis riz, bro. Back in the Shinju dimension, Juro readies himself with Hidari as they teleport to one of the clones. It seems they are beginning to infiltrate Konoha. Back with Shikamaru, he's interrupted by the sensory team as they inform him of 2 trespassers, one of which is unknown and the other is a direct match. Sasuke Uchiha. As they pass the gate into the village, Hidari asks Juro where Naruto is, and to which Juro says he doesn't know, but he can tell. Suddenly, telling Juro to halt, a shinobi team informed Juro if he moves 1 step, they will be considered enemies. Back with Shikamaru, he's being bombarded with messages all over the village, and he tells the shinobis to follow protocol by evacuating the civilians. Ada tells him there are 2 evolved Ten-Tails as we see Juro and Hidari wandering the village. I've never seen a villain shopping in a library while niggas are panicking for their life, bro. What the? As things heat up, Hidari waiting outside senses something behind him as he is suddenly attacked by Kawaki, exploding rods from underneath him, forcing him to jump up. Simultaneously, Kawaki kicks him with a violent thrust mid-air, sending him flying back. Delta now arrives for backup as Kawaki asks what they want in Konoha. Now leaving the store, Juro calmly with his hands in his pockets tells Kawaki not to fight outside. I don't know what type of aura this is, bro. In an instant, Kawaki is suffocated with tree roots, and we see Juro gliding into the air ready for combat. Realizing his situation is growing dangerous, Kawaki uses his Sukuna Hakona Dojutsu to disappear and barely dodges a fatal kick from Juro, who destroys the tree. Now appearing behind him, Kawaki suddenly attempts to strike him with his volcano fist. I don't know what to call this, I'm gonna just call this volcano fist, bro. But Juro turns around, immediately breaking it in half as he effortlessly punches an immensely powerful blow into him, telling Kawaki to remain still as he doesn't intend to kill him. This blow is so ridiculous, it sends Kawaki flying halfway across the village as he slams into building to building. Delta desperately tries to wake him up, and Juro tells Hidari that Naruto is in the area and he can sense the Biju Kurama nearby. We then switch to Team 10 and Himawari running through the village, and Juro appears in front of them with a confused face. He feels the Biju is here, yet Naruto is clearly not present. Shigadai, reporting to the sensory team, tells them he has encountered 2 unknown trespassers before asking Juro what he wants here. Retrieving a book out of his coat, Juro reads Nara Shigadai, Hokage's son. Juro explains how he's looking for Naruto Uzumaki and senses the Nine-Tails in Himawari, shocking Team 10. Suddenly, Juro strikes the tree at Himawari from underneath, completely suffocating him. Shigadai, in a moment of desperation, tries to use Shadow Paralysis Jutsu, temporarily freeing Himawari, and Enojin joins in by using his brush to paint a frog and pulls her away from the tree. Chojo finishes off the coordination by catching Himawari out of the sky. Juro, standing menacingly with his hands in his pockets, praises the team for their incredible coordination. He is truly impressed. We've already seen bro for like a couple of chapters, but I'm already liking bro, man. I fuck with this guy, man. This guy's a cold villain, bro. Juro continues by saying he bears no ill will towards Team 10, particularly after seeing such amazing teamwork, but if they keep resisting, he'll be forced to go on the offensive. At the same time, Shikamaru connects to his son with mind transfer jutsu, asking about the current situation. Shigadai tells his dad that they're intruders who want Himawari for a reason he can't understand, but it might have some link to do with the Ten-Tails. We then see Amado at his desk, sweating from his forehead as he asks, who is this guy? Switching scenes, we return with Boruto and he's at his base with Kashin Koji, who tells Boruto they've made a move referring to the Ten-Tails. Boruto asks where, to which Kashin Koji tells him Konoha and to fly there as soon as possible. Wasting no time, Boruto immediately weaves Flying Thunder God to instantly teleport as we return to Juro and Shigadai in conversation. Shigadai asks why they came here and if they're after Naruto, to which Juro explains he simply sent the Nine-Tails chakra to this location. Chojo, looking visibly worried, grabs Himawari and tells her not to worry. At the same time, Juro says he himself doesn't understand the situation, but there's only one way to solve that, and that is to devour Himawari. Juro tells the Inoshiko trio that he's given them a warning. Switching back to Shikamaru in the Hokage's office, an unfamiliar voice says his name from behind, telling him to remain facing forward, as we see one of Kashin Koji's frogs. At the same time, Kawaki finally returns to consciousness. Delta says they have work to do in the village, but Kawaki, immediately sensing Boruto's chakra, says there is another uninvited guest who needs to be dealt with. Boruto, now in the village, is connected with Shikamaru, who informs him of the situation, explaining the Ten-Tails are here and they are after Himawari. However, before Boruto can afford to answer, he's interrupted by Kawaki, who calls in the radio informing the village of Boruto's location. Yo, no way bro, snitching.
Hell no, man, what the fuck?
He asks Boruto what he's doing sneaking around so suspiciously and if he's friends with those beasts. Realizing though time is of the essence, Boruto tells Shikamaru they'll have to continue their conversation later as he's been found out by Kawaki. Boruto asks Kawaki what he's doing here when the village needs his help, but Kawaki, disgusted, tells Boruto he's an enemy of Konoha. Boruto though continues walking, completely dismissing Kawaki and tells him to forget that and come help him if he wants to deal with the Ten Tails. Now seriously irritated, Kawaki asks if Boruto is mocking him as he uses his dojutsu rods which charge at Boruto at lightning speed. Still, not even paying attention, Boruto effortlessly dodges the rods. Now bursting into a rage, Kawaki uses his dojutsu again, this time throwing 5 rods at Boruto. But again, Boruto dodges like child play as he walks towards Kawaki with an unbothered expression. Kawaki tries to use his beast arm to attack, but in an instant, Boruto thrusts his Rasengan into Kawaki's chest, sending him straight to the ground in immense pain. Boruto, seemingly disappointed, calls Kawaki pitiful and asks if he's even been training. Delta, though witnessing this, asks Boruto it's more like how long have you been training? Now pissed, Kawaki gets up, activating his karma seal, but suddenly this seems to fluster Boruto as his karma also activates unwillingly. The frog, now intervening, tells Boruto this is bad and that he needs to create distance before he loses control to Momoshiki. Realizing the urgency, Boruto's calmness has suddenly disappeared and he immediately flies away, attempting to regain himself. Kawaki is less confused as he wonders if Boruto cannot control his karma. Back with the Jura, Shigadai tells him, who seems completely unbothered, to pay attention to the person he's fighting, and Jura tells him it's a shame before charging up a Biju bomb with his Renegan. Trying to stop him unleashing such a devastating blow, Chojo pushes Jura just as he was letting it go, causing his trajectory to sway towards the forest. This single strike completely devastates the surrounding area, exploding it into a huge sphere of explosion. Hidari then tells Jura that they are getting away, but Jura doesn't seem worried. He wonders though what could be causing them to risk their lives so freely when they know they are not capable. Hidari says it must be foolishness, but Jura isn't so convinced, and he wants to learn more as he thinks it will be valuable. All of Team 10 now on Inojin's bird, Himawari tells them to drop her off as she wants to fight them herself, but Shigata tries to explain she'll definitely die. Suddenly though, out of nowhere, Himawari is surrounded by water in an unfamiliar place. Appearing behind her, a baby Kurama tells her that he is surprised the Ten Tails has found him and asks if she knows who he is. Konohamaru now arrives at the scene with 3 other shinobi, informing Shikamaru of his arrival and confirming contact with the Ten Tails. Shikamaru tells Kawaki to forget Boruto and to head to the village to help Himawari, to which pissed, Kawaki asks why he didn't tell him sooner of her danger as he immediately flies towards her. Shikamaru, now connecting with Boruto, asks where he is and if everything is okay. Boruto though brushes it off, saying nothing major, but he still holds his karma hand in pain. Back with Jura, he tells Hidari to handle the shinobi as he flies off to chase down Himawari. As the heat picks up, Hidari suddenly appears in front of Konohamaru, asking why you humans are so noisy. Konohamaru tells him to get out of the way. Clearly confused, he asks the sensory team where Sasuke is, since they said one of the intruders earlier was him. To which the sensory team responds, saying there's no mistake, the person he's currently fighting is indeed an exact match. Starting to get irritated, Hidari asks why they're not answering his questions and whether they are just stupid. Suddenly, appearing out of a dust of smoke, Sarada Uchiha joins the fray with Sumire. Hidari, glancing over, repeats her name as he suddenly changes stances, fully activated. Before a moment passes, Hidari uses his clawgram and teleports behind Sarada, thrusting his Chidori straight at her. Thinking fast, Sarada activates her Sharingan, ducking under his blow and returning her own Chidori, which strikes him in the chest, causing him to fall. Startled, Sarada wonders how this Ten Tails can use a jutsu only her and her dad Sasuke know, and proceeds to ask who he is. Back with Himawari, she asks Kurama where they are and if this is the same thing that Naruto had. Kurama explains their location is nothing real and simply a place in her consciousness where both minds interact. Back in the real world, still on the bird, Shigadai tries to wake Himawari up, but it's no use as Juro closes in rapidly. Back with Kurama, he continues by stating Biju cannot die forever and that someday they always return to life and start over. He says no one knows how long it takes, but for it to be this quick and also to be in the daughter of Naruto is utterly crazy. Kurama puts it down to the Uzumaki and Hyuga blood that she has and calls it her destiny. Realizing time is of the essence though, Kurama tells Himawari to accept and Himawari regains consciousness of the bird. Wasting no time, Jura starts to load up a Biju bomb from his eye from behind them as he's flying towards. In a moment of desperation, Hima calls out to Kurama asking for his assistance, which confuses everyone. As the Enojin ducks with his bird, they narrowly miss the Biju bomb, but the bird falls and Chojo activates her human Boja expansion to safely land everyone. Jura again praises their teamwork, saying it really is a shame that he has to end them, but they chose this destiny. Himawari continues by screaming out to Kurama, to which he responds telling her to stop being a spoiled little kid. He says the only person who could do something about this is her, as he mentioned earlier, because they are both one. He informs her whether she uses his power or leaves it is completely up to her. Hima, still confused, asks Kurama how she can do it. He continues by telling her that she has the best matching chakra to him that he has ever seen, surpassing even Naruto. He tells her to focus and believe in herself, as without this, her future is not a future at all. Suddenly, amped up, Himawari charges at Jura and tries to kick him, but effortlessly evading, he grabs her leg, throwing her to the ground. Enojin screams out to Hima, who on the floor hurt, seems to have lost hope in herself. Jura begins to spread the tree around Hima, but tells her not to worry as she won't feel any pain. This nigga's actually Homelander shit right now. Hima is now almost entirely covered by the tree when Enojin, trying to desperately help, charges at Jura recklessly, to which Jura knees him in the chest, throwing him back like a toy. Hima tells Jura to stop hurting them, but Jura tells her she doesn't know why they won't stop. Jura actually seems kinda respectful. Enojin, now on the floor and badly wounded, crawls towards Jura, grabbing his foot and telling him again to let go of Himawari. Not even paying attention though, Jura pierces his chest from underneath with a tree, fatally striking Enojin in the abdomen. Enojin, now coughing up blood, seemingly is dead. Hima, now tearing up, unleashes Kurama as she breaks from the tree, ready for battle. Shocked by this sudden change in body language, Jura wonders what has happened. So you're pissed, Kurama tells Himawari. Well, let's go crazy then. Now walking towards Jura, Himawari suddenly heals her broken leg, leaving Shikadai confused. She grabs Enojin with her tail and instantly heals him, fully closing his wound. Shikadai, completely speechless, asks Hima what on earth this power is, to which Himawari tells him we will find out now. Hima tells everyone to leave as Jura only wants her, but Chojo seems reluctant. But Shikadai, showing the intellect of his father, tells her this is a battle and they have no chance of winning this, and thus they should minimize their damages. Take Enojin and get out of here. Impressed with his quick thinking and brains, Jura praises Shikadai on his wise judgment and vows to remember his name and meet him again. Jura then goes on a rant, saying he doesn't understand what it is that makes clearly smart humans make such irrational and severely reckless decisions. He explains that Enojin brought about his own demise by not heeding to his warnings and putting himself in harm's way. He continues by saying, either way, something has caught flame in you, Hima, and perhaps there is a link in the situation. Done with the idle chat, Himawari tells Jura to shut it, digging a ferocious blow into his chest with a punch. The blow so powerful, the ground beneath them crackles from the force as Jura gets sent flying back countless yards, cutting through many mountains and rocks. Unfazed though, Jura quickly darts airborne and charges towards Hima at lightning speed. Himawari stands, charging a Biju bomb, and Jura also doing the same with his Renegan, both of them cancelling each other out as we see a huge explosion. Jura, pleasantly surprised, comments on Himawari being able to use the BG bomb and seems increasingly curious as to how she's developed so rapidly. He flies at her, hitting her with a blow that sends her flying back, while at the same time speed blitzing past her and appearing from behind, hitting her again with a vicious kick from above her, crashing her into the ground. Jura admits he has decided to try a little bit as he wants to see how strong he truly is. Hey, there's no way. Back with the Sarada, she tells Hidari with a fatal blow like that, he must be hurt, and that if he tells her some information, she will spare him. Not listening though, Hidari teleports away and arrives back instantaneously with his wounds suddenly gone. It seems he went back to his base, guys. I think he went to heal in his base and then teleported back. Hidari now stands again, asking Sarada if those eyes are the Sharingan that Jura told him about. Hidari asks if the lightning attack is called a Chidori and wonders if the Sharingan are needed to use it effectively, and realizes that might be why he's been struggling. There's no way bro's learning on the job, that's crazy. Konohamaru chimes in asking him what his connection is with Sasuke, but confused, Hidari asks who that is and why they keep asking these strange questions. He explains he doesn't know who he is himself and that he's trying to find out now, which is why he's here. Dipping his hand into his teleportation, Hidari uses lightning Chidori from behind and hits Sarada before continuing with the fireball jutsu, burning a shinobi to death. Konohamaru, now entering the battle, tries to sneak attack him, hitting him with a Rasengan from behind, but it's effortlessly evaded. Anticipating Hidari's next attack, he doubles up using another Rasengan, this time to absorb the incoming Chidori. Even still though, he's sent flying back from the force of the strike, even though he blocked it. Sumire tells Sarada to hang in there, but she herself is hit with the same lightning attack, which hurts her badly. Sarada, with her knees on the ground, is badly hurt and left immobile from the previous strike, commenting that she cannot even move. Back with Himawari, she's seen going blow for blow with Jura, but she can't withstand his strikes. Jura seemingly striking at her knee, making her immobile and falling to the ground. Yo, there's no way bro just looks at her knee and that shit snaps. Jura tells Himawari she has astounding healing power, but even so, the amount of chakra being expended trying to heal is making her weaker. We switch to Kurama, who calls Jura a bigger beast than he thought, and although Himawari has potential, he admits they are severely outmatched. We then switch to Kawaki, flying towards the action, Delta asking him what is the point as he's not strong enough to do anything. However, before he's about to answer, they are both suddenly alerted as a black flash swings past their vision in an instant. It's Boruto, with a serious face as he charges towards the battlefield. Jura, sensing something, begins to turn around, but he's too slow as Boruto swoops in, grabbing Himawari and flying off. Switching back to Hidari, he's about to finish Sarada and ask her what he will gain if he finishes her here. Looking up, Sarada sees a frog with a weird look in front of her. We see it reporting to Boruto that the symbol is ready as Boruto, holding Himawari in his left hand, uses the right to weave flying Raijin as he instantly teleports to Sarada's location. One hand obstructed, Boruto uses the other to draw his katana, cutting Hidari's tree instantly as he lands, leaving Konohamaru completely shocked by the level of speed and force he has just demonstrated. Jura also calls Boruto a crafty thing. Now dropping Himawari beside Sarada, Boruto faces Hidari. It seems he intends to unleash his power, but before he can, he calls out to Konohamaru, telling him to keep her safe. Trying to catch Boruto lacking, Hidari swings his claw suddenly at Boruto, but Boruto, quick to react, draws his katana and parries the attack. Not done, he uses wind style to send Hidari flying back to create some distance. Hidari then enters the claw mark as Kawaki is surprised by Boruto's speed and wonders if he has space-time ninjutsu. Shocked that he's shown up so blatantly, Konohamaru tells Boruto what he's doing here, showing up like nothing has happened, but Sarada backs Boruto, saying he should be dead just a moment ago without him. Ready to lock in, Boruto asks the sensory shinobi to focus on the claw mark chakra and to call it out to him, but disgusted, the shinobi calls Boruto a traitor and tells him he has no right to ask such a thing. Sumire then informs Boruto on the current situation and that Hidari wants to devour Sarada. Sarada asks Boruto if this is related to Sasuke, to which Boruto explains that Hidari came into creation as a result of Sasuke as a foundation from the tree, but he tells them not to worry and to just focus on killing him as that's how they save Sasuke. Confused, Konohamaru asks Boruto how he has acquired such advanced knowledge, but Boruto dismisses this, telling Master Konohamaru to focus or he will die. Now panicking, the shinobi calls out to Boruto, saying he senses chakra in the claw marks. Boruto asks him to remain calm and tell him where, but the shinobi says he cannot pinpoint it. Suddenly, at that moment, a wave of clawgrams appears surrounding all of them. Wasting no time, Boruto tells Sarada to focus on the clawgrams that come for her, while the rest he'll cut them down. We see one clawgram charging at Boruto from the front, two from the side and two from the back. Outnumbered, Boruto leaps airborne, drawing his sword and cutting down multiple in a single swoop of his blade. Meanwhile, Sarada notices a clawgram behind her and kicks it away, but suddenly, just at that moment, Hidari pops out of the clawgram, clenching onto Sarada's leg. Realizing that she's in trouble, Boruto throws his kunai towards her. Whilst he's still mid-air, he uses his flying Raijin to also teleport. In an instant, he slams his Rasengan into Hidari's back, ripping through his flesh. Hidari though, instantly teleports away. Sarada tells Boruto that he's going to heal. Back in the Ten Tails base, we see Hidari regaining his flesh as the trees seem to regenerate him. Now ready, he returns to the battlefield, popping back out behind them and using his Renegan to surround them with claw marks so they can't anticipate where he will attack from. Sarada comes up with a plan, telling Boruto to escape airborne while she attacks him and for him to use his Rasengan from above to finish him. Boruto though rejects this, saying he cannot go up as he needs to use his Uzuhiko with full force and he'll kill Hidari in just one blow. Boruto explains to Sarada this is the power of the Earth's rotation that he's harnessing and it's a new Rasengan. Sarada asks Boruto if he's sure he can end him in one blow, with this many places for Hidari to escape, but Boruto is confident, saying if he doesn't hold back, there is no limit to the power he can generate. What type of broken... What do you mean there's no limit, bro? Continuing, Boruto tells her he will need some time as he needs both feet on the ground in order to extract the chakra. Konohamaru then uses his Rasengan barrier to defend the attacks from Hidari, but Boruto asks him why isn't he protecting Himawari. Konohamaru though tells Boruto he chooses what his priority is and instead of complaining to get that jutsu ready. Suddenly, Hidari appears from a clawgram suffocating his tree arms around Sarada. Trying to get away, she weaves her Chidori stream, telling Boruto to wait a little longer. Boruto though tells her although it's not ready, it's really now or never, as Boruto thrusts his Rasengan straight into Hidari's back, activating Rasengan Uzuhiko. As we see wind swirling from Boruto's feet, all the way up to the air like a tornado, the force so significant it rips Hidari to shreds, leaving nothing but half a chest and arm as it lands on the floor. Kawaki then arrives, clinching Hidari as he tells him, "Let me ease your suffering." Kawaki then proceeds to blow Hidari up to fire, leaving nothing but a strange black orb. Boruto makes sure to catch it though. Damn, I think this is what they need to get Sasuke back, I'm not sure, but Kashin Koji communicates with Boruto through the frog on his shoulder, confirming it is indeed a thought bulb like they thought. Kawaki, now grabbing on Boruto, tells him to wait and explain what this bulb is. Boruto though, simply telling him it's something that will save his master. Kawaki though, still unsatisfied, tells Boruto again who told him this information, but before Boruto can answer, a black looking bullet pierces through his back and chest, immediately immobilizing him as Boruto drops to the ground, coughing up blood and looking wounded. For the first time in time skip, Boruto has been hurt critically, bro. Yo. Sarada, seeing the bulb that Boruto dropped and overhearing that it will help save her dad, tries to grab it, but it flies away and Jura grabs it. Annoyed that he just missed Boruto's vitals, we see him in the air a very long distance away. Bro sniping like Phase Apex, what is this? Concerned though, Jura is surprised that Boruto even knows what the bulb is, and he says he severely underestimated just how dangerous Boruto truly is. He then declares that Boruto as a result needs to die now. Calling him interesting, Jura apologizes for needing to do this as he loads up a second attack at a clearly helpless Boruto who's almost unconscious. Before he can release it though, the bug Shinju appears in front of Jura, telling him according to Matsuri, Boruto has an accomplice. If you guys don't know, Matsuri is just a female Shinju like that you guys have seen earlier. Jura, putting the pieces together, realizes this must be where Boruto is getting so much information. The bug Shinju then asks why Jura is holding an orb and if Hidari is dead. Jura explains their enemy is formidable and they should retreat for now so they can bring back Hidari. About to leave, Jura tells Boruto he truly is a lucky man and it's as if heaven itself is on his side trying to keep him alive, comparing it to some divine intervention. As Boruto dips out of consciousness, we see a flashback to earlier in the time skip as Boruto is with long hair. Guys, I'm guessing this might be like at least a year or two earlier from the current moment in time skip. Boruto seems to be hiding from countless shinobi and hears a voice behind him calling his name. Confused, Boruto turns around, seeing a toad and wonders what it wants. The toad explains to Boruto that he is severely outnumbered with 20 shinobi in the area and that he is trapped as the only way to escape would be to kill them, which Boruto clearly will not do. Boruto, seemingly nervous, asks the toad who he is and the toad responds telling Boruto to relax. He further explains that if he was an enemy, he would have called out to the shinobi already and exposed his location. Now grabbing on his katana though, Boruto asks the toad what his motive truly is, to which it tells Boruto to simply touch its back so they can get out of it. Hesitant, Boruto has a think, but the toad tells him to be quick as there is nowhere worse than where he is now. Reluctant, Boruto touches the toad and is instantly teleported to an unknown location which looks like one of Orochimaru's hideouts. There, we find an unknown hooded man using summoning jutsu to teleport Boruto as we see a cloud of smoke. Confused, Boruto asks where they are, to which the man tells Boruto that he's in one of Orochimaru's abandoned bases near the Land of Wind. Guys, this is about to be a text heavy bit. He tells Boruto this place is safe as he used genjutsu to hide the entrance. He starts by informing Boruto that the frog he communicated with is not a real frog, but instead an identical scientific ninja tool that's man-made. He tells Boruto that he manipulates it using chakra, and thus it wasn't the frog he was talking to earlier, but actually him. Boruto asks who he is and why he knows so much, to which the man puts a mask to his face, asking if it rings a bell. I'm Kashin Koji, he explains, a scientific creation made by a model. So guys, he's a clone of Jiraiya for those who don't know. Boruto, now remembering who he is, asks why he tried to kill him before, but dismissing this, Kashin Koji asks him to verify something. Were you born as Boruto Uzumaki since birth until now? Boruto, looking visibly shocked, as if wondering how he can know this. He tells Boruto yes or no with a face of seriousness. Boruto asks if he knows of omnipotence, to which Koji starts to explain that his memory of Boruto is that he is an outsider who is the vessel of Ishiki, but admits that this is wrong, isn't it? Koji continues by saying he didn't know the name of this memory flipping, but he knows he and Kawaki have flipped lives in everyone's mind. Boruto, completely shocked, asks Koji how he could possibly know this when his memories say different, but Kashin Koji explains he knew there was a high possibility of this happening beforehand. In other words, he saw into the future before it happened. Koji apologizes to Boruto for fighting him in the past, even though it was for a higher purpose of stopping Ishiki. Boruto tells him he completely understands as someone who also knows the weight of a mission as a shinobi. Koji explains after he stopped Ishiki by dragging him out of Jigen, he was satisfied to end his life there as he was heavily overpowered. While awaiting death though, he explains he came across various scenes flashing in front of him one by one. He started to realize these were potential futures that could happen. Realizing how bad the future was, he understood he could no longer sit and die and instead had to work to save the planet from being devoured. Since that day until now, Koji explains he's improved upon this ability by seeing which one of his visions come true and end up happening. Boruto confirms by asking if he knew about him and Kawaki flipping before it happened, to which Koji says yes. He explains though that there are still some details which he's learned only now through asking Boruto. Boruto then asks him where he got such an ability, to which Koji asks if he's aware of Shibai or Tsuki. He says Amado transplanted all of his subjects with some of Shibai's DNA with the hopes of awakening one of his abilities. However, Koji explains him, Delta and Boro are the only 3 who demonstrated no special ability. Everyone else, Ada, Cold, Damon, had abilities, but despite this, he said it wasn't until the moment he was knocking on death's door that one of his abilities awakened. Prescience, the ability to see all possible futures. Boruto seems very surprised, to which Koji tells him the future is not a straight path, but instead many simultaneous ones going in different directions. Put simply, he calls it a battle royale of destinies. He gives an example, saying if Ishiki killed Naruto that day when he was fighting in Byron mode, he would have reincarnated in Kawaki and ended the planet. Or the day Boruto and Kawaki fought, if Boruto was killed, they wouldn't have swapped places. Instead, Kawaki would have gone on to get killed by a much stronger Cold and the result would have been the same. Boruto says he doesn't want to believe this, but realizes he probably has to. Boruto asks how this ability is even useful, to which Kashin Koji explains he gets significant intel. He knows everything, so he can prevent Boruto from getting cornered like earlier. Or more significantly, he explains he can look at the future Boruto down the road and bring those abilities to the current Boruto. Wouldn't that make you more formidable, he says. Moving on, he tells Boruto they can save Sasuke, but first he needs to explain the worst possible future which could come. He tells Boruto that the Ten Tails will break free from Cold and evolve in a new way. He explains they will have their own individual minds. Kashin continues by saying, ideally, they should kill the Ten Tails now, but in almost all future situations, the Ten Tails are alive and have evolved. So he says the likelihood of success is very low. Now changing his expression very seriously, Kashin Koji tells Boruto the most dangerous Shinju is Jura. He tells Boruto that Jura is going to kill him. It's not 100%, but it's very likely, he explains. In all the futures which this happens, Koji tells Boruto that Kawaki will always be killed and the planet will end. In other words, guys, he's saying Boruto is the GOAT. If Boruto dies, it's GG in the chat, bro. Understanding the situation, Boruto agrees to help, but that he will never accept any future where he has to kill his brother Kawaki, as he wants to squash it like siblings. Realizing Ten Tails is an enemy he has to kill, Boruto tells Kashin Koji to save his breath, as he says he'll finish him and Cold as he wraps Sasuke's headband onto his head. Yo, that was a sick flashback, man. Now we go back to the present though. We go back to current time. Back to the present, Himawari suddenly wakes up and runs over to Sarada, touching her hand and healing her instantly. Sumire then calls out to Himawari, asking her if she can heal Boruto, to her surprise, as she didn't realize that Boruto was back. Standing menacingly though, Kawaki tells Himawari not to go near him, and Sarada is about to go off on Kawaki, but Kawaki tells her not to misunderstand. He doesn't mind him getting healed, but first they must do something, as he hints to Konohamaru. Konohamaru then tells Sumire to move out the way, as they cannot miss this opportunity to restrict the movement of Boruto with Amado's cuffs. They need to cuff him, bro, when he's unconscious. This nigga's that OP, bro. Sarada tries to stop them, but Konohamaru insists and tells Sarada to alert Lord 8th, as there's intel they need to extract from him. Now kneeling and looking by Boruto's collar, Kawaki sees a frog and wonders what Kashin Koji's equipment is doing here, as it vanishes untouched. We then see a panel of Kashin Koji calling this a bothersome circumstance. Back in the Ten Tails base, the whole gang is back together and the bulb restores Hidari. Matsuri, the female Shinju, tells Jura, isn't it time to unleash the new Shinju, to which he agrees as they throw it on the cube, Jura thinking of a name. So we start off chapter 14, we see Boruto looking like he just woke up, and he's in an interrogation room with Ibiki and Konohamaru. Konohamaru tells him, "You finally woken up," as Boruto realizes that he's cuffed. Konohamaru explains to him that his favorite teleportation jutsu will be suppressed by the sealing jutsu cuffs that were made by Amado. He tells him not to even think about breaking them, as they're electronic and basically impossible. Switching back to the interrogation room, Konohamaru tells Boruto that it's time they have a chat, and he has a lot of questions that need answering. He asks who these Shinju are and why on earth they want Sarada and Himawari. Ada, seeing this interrogation through her Senragan, tells Damon that Boruto's interrogation has begun. Damon then lets off a menacing smile and tells Kawaki, "What are you gonna do when your boy snitches?" But Kawaki dismisses this. But to add to that, he says Boruto needs to be killed. He says he's a ticking time bomb and at any moment Momoshiki can pop out like Polo G.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
Yo, I can't lie, I'm waiting for Momoshiki to just pull up and just start hurting people, you know? Kaoki continues by saying before he kills Boruto though, he needs to get the information out of Boruto, as he needs to know how to go against the Shinju. Boruto continues by explaining to Konohamaru that the Shinju are self-conscious and that they've been involved by code into higher beings, and their main priority is to devour Onosutsuki so they can become a divine tree. He explains this is basically a subconscious thing and is known to them instinctively. Boruto continues by explaining that all the Shinjus have someone which they clone except the leader Jura, as that he's a special case because he is a direct incarnation of the Ten Tails itself. Boruto explains if they can somehow manage to take down Jura, that the village and planet will be safe. Konohamaru, baffled by his confidence, asks Boruto how on earth this could be and what makes him so confident. Boruto though doesn't seem to want to respond, and Konohamaru presses him again, telling Boruto to answer him as his life depends on his next words. Boruto explains that he has a source, but he has no intention of telling them it. He explains that the person asked him not to. Obviously he's talking about Kashin Koji here. Konohamaru is shocked by his lack of cooperation, tells Boruto if he expects them to believe him as someone who killed the Hokage. Realizing he's starting to get stubborn, the elders tell Boruto that regardless of what he says, he's not coming out of that room alive. Shikamaru, watching on in this interrogation, begins to get in his head. He doesn't understand. He's remembering his conversation with Boruto and the conflicting information between what he witnessed and the omnipotence memories that are in his brain. Shikamaru, naturally, as he forgets his conversation with Boruto, starts to question himself. He doesn't know why, but he just knows that Boruto is good and that he trusts him. Shikamaru though continues to listen to the conversation between Konohamaru and Boruto. Boruto telling Shikamaru that he didn't kill Lord 7th and that Naruto is still alive, him and Hinata somewhere safe. Now getting frustrated that Boruto is not cooperating, Ibiki steps forward, telling him, good, that's the spirit, as he grabs his glove ready to beat some information out of him. Yo, I ain't seen this guy since when's the last time I seen bro? We then switch back to Shikamaru, having a conversation with Ino as he asks for her to use her mind transfer jutsu, but Ino is really unwilling. She doesn't want to do this and she keeps reminding Shikamaru that this is against the regulations and they are both violating it, even for speaking now. She asks Shikamaru if this is an order, and Shikamaru responds by telling her this is a top secret mission and he's not asking on official orders or capacity, but he's asking as a friend. Ino though is confused, not understanding why Shikamaru is so protective over Boruto, and she says she's sorry but she cannot continue doing this. Ibiki, now standing over Boruto, tells him if the Lord 7th is safe, tell me his location, and if he doesn't, he'll die in a disgraceful manner. Boruto though doesn't respond, doesn't even move a muscle, and now frustrated, Ibiki grabs the back of his head, smashing it against the table. He then lifts it up, as we start to see Boruto bleeding from his nose and a slight cut underneath his mouth. Ibiki then tells Boruto that he's been itching to hurt him ever since he found out that he killed Naruto. To which Boruto claps back, saying it must be nice having so much free time. Now getting very agitated, Ibiki continues by punching Boruto in the face before grabbing his head and hitting him again in his torso. Yo, bro is moving like Mike Tyson, this is crazy. It seems to be taking a toll on Boruto as we see him bleeding quite heavily from his nose. Ibiki praises him for his resilience, but says we'll see how long that lasts. But before we continue, Shikamaru interrupts him, telling him to stop, it's useless, as Boruto is clearly not willing to give any information, and any more damage will simply be a waste. He instead suggests using a different strategy, using venom by summoning Mitsuki. Konohamaru though isn't convinced, and he tells Shikamaru that he doesn't think this is a good idea. Mitsuki has too much bloodthirst towards Boruto, and he's afraid that he might just burst out and try to kill him. Shikamaru though still insists, telling him that it's fine, and if anything happens, he'll take the fall. Switching scenes, we go back to Ada and Kaoki, and Ada tells Kaoki that it doesn't look like Boruto is giving any information away and is keeping silent, to which Kaoki is surprised. Damon, with a look of confusion, doesn't understand why Boruto would protect him, and says he doesn't understand that guy. Switching back to Mitsuki, Shikamaru opens the door for the interrogation room, and we see him slip something into his hand, but we don't quite know what it is. He grabs him, telling him to remember we are shinobi and that this is a mission. He tells Mitsuki to control himself and perform his duty. Yo, this is actually looking cold. Mitsuki then enters the room. Before he can even get a chance to speak, Konohamaru quickly explains to him that Boruto is an important witness. He highlights the importance of not killing Boruto as they really need this information. But before they can continue, Boruto immediately starts with the flaunting as he says, "Hey Mitsuki, are you still stupidly searching for your son?" Immediately triggered, as if flipping a switch, Mitsuki switches straight into sage mode and charges towards Boruto, giving him what seems like a vicious blow to the face. Telling Boruto, "Is this all you have to say, you ungrateful traitor?" Ibuki grabs onto Mitsuki, calling him a fool and telling him to stand down, but it's too late. We see a panel, one of Mitsuki's snakes slip round to Boruto's cuffs and unlocks it, freeing Boruto's hands. Just before Mitsuki can get pulled back though, he whispers into Boruto's ear, "Your stuff's in the West Wing security office," and there are 2 guards waiting. What seemed like an initial accident has clearly been orchestrated, as Shikamaru has clearly ordered this. Just before Boruto teleports away, Boruto explains he doesn't see any of them as enemies and that he'll give them intel as and when he wishes, leaving Konohamaru in complete and utter shock, doubting himself, not understanding how on earth Boruto has gotten free, as those cuffs made by Amado were supposed to be completely impossible. He wonders if Mitsuki unlocked them, but he quickly reassures himself that can't be the case, as only him and Shikamaru have the code. We switch back to an earlier scene as we see Mitsuki was indeed given the code by Shikamaru. Boruto quickly teleports to the West Wing, grabbing his katana and his cloak and immediately leaving. But before that, he tells the ninjas not to worry, and that's not their fault. Back with Mitsuki, he apologizes to Konohamaru. He completely lost his mind and blew their opportunity. The elders look in disgrace and tell Shikamaru there's going to be consequences for this action. Now resting in his Hokage office, there seems to be noise by the door is interrupted by Sarada and Sumire as they ask where Boruto is and what happened in his interrogation. Shikamaru explains that he escaped, but before he can give any more detail, he's interrupted by a radio message as Lord Kankuro from the village of Sand seems to have arrived. Kankuro explains to Shikamaru that he needs his help and that he knows it's been a while, but Gaara's been taken down and Shinki has also been captured. He further explains that Shinki has become a tree and that fortunately they're both alive. He'll explain more, but he just needs his help immediately. We then switch to the last panel and we see the latest Shinju being a clone of Shinji, looking bloody cold. Okay guys, I just finished. That is the entire Boruto time skip so far. 14 chapters. This took a very long time. Smash the like button, man. I hope you guys have a great day, and we out of here, man. Peace, love, man.